Everyone, remain calm.
Yeah, that's how it always starts. But then later there's running and screaming.
Somebody talk to me! What is happening?
Welcome to Jurassic World.
You're listening to the Jurassic Park Podcast.
You want to consult here or in my bungalow? Hold on to your butts.
Well, we're back.
Hello and welcome to the 138th episode of the Jurassic Park Podcast. I am your host, Brad Jost, and we're here to discuss all things Jurassic Park. In this episode, we've certainly got some news to discuss, quickly covering a bit of merchandising news from New York Toy Fair, since we already covered it in that mega episode with Aaron Beyer over the weekend. There's a cool commercial from Kong Skull Island director related to Jurassic in theme parks. Frank Marshall talking about Jimmy Buffett, and a new look at an old friend. After that, we'll welcome in Ted Brothers for a top 5 segment. He joined me to discuss our top 5 Jurassic memories from our lives. Jurassic Park has been super impactful, as you can tell, on our lives, and we figured we'd relay some of those best moments that we can remember. As I mentioned before, I also had the chance to chat with Aaron Beyer over the weekend for a special update episode on the Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom merchandise being released from Mattel. We did talk about a few items outside of Mattel, but we mostly focused on those amazing new toys. Like I said, I'll chat about them quickly in the news, but make sure to listen to that special update episode for all our reactions and thoughts on the new line. Alright, since we got the intro out of the way, we have a packed episode for you, so why don't we get this one started off with a bit of Jurassic news from around the world.
18 minutes and your company catches up on 10 years of research.
Access rate program. Access new security.
These pictures were taken in hospital in Costa Rica 48 hours ago.
I don't want to jump to any conclusions, but look.
Boy, I hate being right all the time.
But today, I guarantee it.
Kicking off the news here, I did want to mention all these stuff, or a lot of the stuff that we saw at the New York Toy Fair this weekend. First off, Mattel debuted a ton of stuff. We got our first official look at all the amazing toys that they're bringing to life. The giant, super colossal T-Rex, which is absolutely huge. The giant Mosasaurus. There's a Carnotaurus, Stegosaurus, all the sauruses that are out there. It's gonna be an amazing line full of fantastic dinosaurs from Fallen Kingdom and other movies. It looks like we're gonna get a ton of great action figures, maybe a little bit smaller than the Kenner stuff, some really cool looking vehicles, big tanker trucks and haulers that you can put dinosaurs on, a submarine, which is really cool. There are so many awesome items from this toy line, and I think it's just the beginning of what we're gonna see. There's also a lot of kids toys, which is very cool. You know, a lot of the older lines that we were used to as kids didn't come with kids toys, so it's kind of nice to cater to the younger audience before they get to those bigger Mattel toys. There's also a Claire novel that they debuted. It's kind of a stock cover at the moment. I don't think it's finalized. It might be finalized, but they just said it's not ready yet. But it's by Tess Sharp, so make sure to keep an eye out for her and all the stuff that she's written. There is a great synopsis on the back. It's super long. Listen to that episode. I read the entire thing. We're going to be covering that book like crazy. Myself and Jennifer Tarek have a lot of ideas for that one. Also debuting was the Kamigami robots. They're really cool. They're actually a little bit smaller than I imagined. We saw some promo images from the EW release with all the different toys and stuff, but these Kamigami robots are kind of small handheld size things. There was showcasing an iPad next to it. It looked kind of small compared to it, but they're basically little robots that you can control with your iPad, your mobile device, whatever it is, and you can actually program movements and different things. It's very cool, kind of lifelike looking, so it's very cool. Check that one out. We actually posted an article with a video in there from Engadget. There's also a Pteranodrone, which is a very cool, safe flying drone with a Pteranodon on it flapping its wings. There's a ton of Matchbox cars, some stuff from the new movies, also a lot of the retro stuff. You have the Jeep, you have the Ford Explorer from the first movie, you have the Mercedes from Lost World, you have the camper, at least half of it, but they look absolutely amazing. There's also the big wheels, the power wheels, where you could drive the Jeep. We've talked about that before here in the news. There's also an awesome like ATV quad kind of looking power wheels with the a Raptor, kind of like the thing that you're riding. It's really cool. I think kids are gonna love that one. There was also so many clothing items at the toy fair, but it's so cool that we're getting all this stuff. There's so many women's dresses and shirts and all kinds of really cool stuff. Awesome shirts with cool graphic designs on them. Looked like there was some maybe like sweatshirt attire. I'm not really sure. I think there was a lot of jewelry and stuff like that. There was also a lot of the party material stuff that we've seen before, the cups, the plates, napkins, all that stuff, housewares. I think there was even pillows. So look guys, we're getting a ton of stuff. It's going to be impossible to keep up with it all, and I think it's going to be fun to kind of follow along, see who is getting what. Is going to be a ton of toys, and I'm sure there's going to be a lot more revealed soon. For now, head to our show notes. You'll find the link to an article that we wrote up with the initial press release photos from Mattel and some others, and then you'll also find our episode jam-packed with commentary, thoughts, and concerns all about these new toys and more. I did that, like I said, with Aaron Beyer, so make sure to check that out in our show notes. Director of Kong Skull Island teased some Jurassic project that he was working on a few months back, and it turns out that that project was a commercial for Universal Orlando. Here's what he had to say via Twitter. The original King Kong ride at Universal Studios was an incredibly influential moment for my love of Kong, so it was fun to do this commercial with Chung Hoon Chung, DP of Oldboy, plus being able to homage my friend Colin Trevorrow while working with the geniuses at ILM and Frame Store. The commercial showcases different attractions from both Universal and Islands of Adventure, and when they get to the Jurassic section of the commercial, the guy in the commercial teases a few velociraptors in the jungle near this retro JP container unit with nothing other than a turkey leg. I hate turkey legs, guys. But the raptors look beautiful in the seconds-long spot. So we have ILM and Frame Store to thank for that. It's a slick-looking commercial, so head to our show notes and check it out. Jurassic World producer Frank Marshall recently chatted with The Hollywood Reporter when he happened to drop a tidbit on an upcoming cameo for Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom. Now, don't worry, this is not a spoiler at all. It's nothing really, so don't worry about that. In the article, Frank Marshall mentioned about Jimmy Buffett that he likes to put him in a movie once in a while, and they did mention in this article that there's an uncredited cameo in both Jurassic World movies, including June's Fallen Kingdom. So that's really interesting. As we know, Jimmy Buffett was the margarita guy in Jurassic World, running away from pteranodons with 2 margaritas in his hands. So he has a lot to live up to cameo-wise here for Fallen Kingdom. But I'd temper your expectations, of course. But anyway, make sure to keep an eye out for that musician in the film this June. Don't forget to find the link to the Hollywood Reporter article in our show notes. I'm sure you all know about this one already, but just in case, if you don't want to know anything about Ready Player One, if you haven't seen any trailers or seen any pictures floating around online, maybe stay away from this one. Ready Player One has recently received a new trailer ahead of its March 29th release, and it looks like Steven Spielberg has included the T-Rex that he famously brought to screen in Jurassic Park. Ready Player One, the novel, was so full of nostalgia, iconic imagery from other properties, and so much more video game-wise too. So it's certainly been in question what Steven Spielberg would include in his version of the film. Now, many have questioned which properties of his own would be included, and now it looks like we'll get the Rex in all her glory. It looks beautiful too, and as you know, I don't watch trailers for the most part, but I have seen images floating around on this one. I think the Rex looks fantastic. Head to our show notes to find the trailer and see the Rex run.
Oh, there it is. There it is.
5.
Dinosaurs and man, 5 million years of evolution.
4.
You might be the 4th.
3. I'm gonna contact the other 3 members of your team, and I'm gonna stalk them.
2.
About 2 million.
1.
That is one big pilot.
It's time for another Top 5 segment here on the Jurassic Park Podcast. We have done a few of these before, whether it was the JP Series 1 and 2 toys, the Lost World toys, favorite scenes, favorite commercials, scariest scenes, but today we're going to get a little bit sentimental with you. I've brought on contributor to the podcast, Ted Brothers, to give you our Top 5 Jurassic Memories. Now, these are not necessarily film memories, but memories from our lives that kind of stood out and contained that Jurassic spirit that we're all kind of looking for. And before we even get into our list, before I introduce Ted, there is one that actually stands out to me. It's not actually on my list. I thought of this after the fact, actually. I remember back in 2nd grade, I knew a kid in my class named Ted. And one year for Halloween, we actually both wore Alan Grant costumes. And it created this rivalry between the two of us. Who was the bigger fan? Who knew more about Jurassic Park? Whose hat was the best? Whose tan pants were more accurate? Who was actually wearing the red scarf around the neck? So Ted, you didn't happen to grow up on the East Coast in New Jersey, right?
No, I did not.
Okay, good.
I have no relation to that, Ted.
Because I was going to say, like, this is the end of the recording. If that's the case, we're going to have to stop.
Forget you, bleep.
No, really, I thought of that after the fact, and I was like, oh, man, like, I didn't even consider that. And then I was, like, writing my show notes and stuff, and I'm like, oh, Ted. Oh, my God, I forgot about this kid. Ted, that was...
Who was blue shirt Grant and white shirt Grant? That's all that really matters. Were you Series 1 Grant or Series 2 Grant?
Oh, that was
all nerdy up in here.
That would have been perfect if we had actually planned it instead of being rivals between, like, oh, that would have been fun. That would have been cool.
And if you show up to school with that giant net launcher, been totally worth it.
Oh man, but we have some good lists. I know it took me a while to come up with my list, but once I started rolling on it, I was like, oh wow, I got a ton of stuff here. Did you have any troubles putting together your list?
I did not. These are always just memories that stick with me, and they have been. I mean, for the past 25 years, it's just little things that I think of, that involve little bits and pieces of, either my collection or just memories that I've had with it, with, family members and stuff like that. So, but they're always like personal memories, so
yeah,
I always for these.
Yeah, I know some of mine, when I was going through my list, I was like, well, I know how bad my brain works nowadays. Like, I don't know about you, but I don't remember a lot of, I don't want to say like a lot of my past, but like specifics and stuff like that. And I have a hard time remembering. Maybe my brain is just falling apart, but like, I remember the idea or the general gist of what's going on. But like, some of these memories, I'm like, okay, I remember this thing. Let me put 2 and 2 together, and I'll just throw it in this list, and I think it'll be good enough. So hopefully I can expand upon some of them and talk about them in a good way. But I'm kind of excited for what I have here.
Oh, it's going to be great.
Yeah. So I guess why don't you kick it off here? Top 5 Jurassic Memories. Go ahead, number 5. I
will start off with my 5th one, and this one is it's my 5th one, but it's probably one of my most favorite memories, and that's it was probably maybe 98, 99, and I would go thrift store shopping with my little brother, and we would go hunt for Jurassic Park toys to put in our collection that we had. And there was this thrift store near our house that we always went to, and it was all like on Mondays they would get new stuff in, and they were just loaded down with Lost World, Jurassic Park, dinosaurs, and like vehicles and stuff like that. And that's how we ended up with a lot of our stuff, was secondhand through these thrift shops. Because growing up with Jurassic Park, I had Grant. That was the only one I ever really had originally from that line. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't until the Lost World when I walked into Walmart one day and I was like, oh my gosh, there's more Jurassic Park stuff coming out. This is great. And I started to get those, but that's such a fun memory for me, because him and I would get together, and that was like right when I think I finally got my license. So I was was I 16? I can't remember. No, we would walk there. That's right. We would walk there because it was right near our house. So we would walk to the thrift store, and it was just bonding with my brother, and going there, and just that thrill of the hunt, and this was probably before, eBay was a thing, and you actually had to deliberately go out and like search for these things that you wanted. And we always would come home with bags full of dinosaurs, and that's how we ended up with a lot of our stuff. And, destroyed it. Obviously, I mean, I don't have very much of it left now. I mean, everything I have now I had to rebuy, but it was a great memory that I remember, having with him. And we always talk about doing that, whenever him and I get together, and we're always like, hey man, remember we used to go to the thrift store and look for Jurassic Park stuff, and it's like always there. And now as an adult, I'll go there to the thrift store, and to usually go and buy adult things like shelves and, decorations for my wife's coffee rack or something like that or whatever. And occasionally I'll stroll through there, and it's usually just a bunch of junk, and there's never anything good. But I remember it was December last year, and I found the electronic Velociraptor
Nice.
from Jurassic Park 1, and sitting in a little baggie with a bunch of other little junky dinosaurs. And that was the first time I found a Jurassic Park dinosaur at a thrift store since probably like 1999. And
Wow.
that was just so cool to like see that, even though I've got, a few of them already, but like just to see that. And I was like super excited. I'm like this grown dude in a thrift store, and I was like, babe, they have a Jurassic Park Velociraptor here. I can't believe that. And it's only like 77 cents. And she's like, okay, just get it. Let's go, Like, all right, Mom. But, and then I found the Lost World Chasmosaurus or Chasmosaurus, however you say it. I'm not a paleontologist. I don't know how to say it, but it's the little plate face. The plate face one from the Lost World. And I found that one at a thrift store too. The same day I found that raptor at 2 different thrift stores we went to. So that was actually pretty cool. But yeah, the thrift store hunting with my brother it's just such a great memory that I have, and I'll never forget that. That was just some really great times with him finding that stuff. So
yeah, I think that's going to be like a common theme on these lists, is just that like bond that you create with somebody, in the past. And yeah, that really stands out a lot on my list too. So, and man, I don't know, like I never get lucky like that at thrift stores. Yeah, and it's more recently for me, but like I never find anything good. Like I never find a Jurassic thing, and it always bugs me. And like I'm like, I always walk by that section. I'm like, there's got to be something. Yeah. Like there's got to be. No, never.
Dig through all the gross like natty Barbie dolls and just like broken play school toys, like hoping is there going to be a Thrasher T-Rex under here? But there never is. It never is.
No. Well, I guess my number 5 I'm going to go with, this is a little corny, I guess you could say, but and something like I was saying before, I don't remember a lot of the past, but I remember a lot of now and today.
Yeah.
And this one is starting this podcast.
Oh yeah.
I know it's obviously Jurassic related. It's the biggest Jurassic related thing for me right now, is because I'm constantly consumed by this. I'm putting together show notes and writing stuff and talking with people and running the social media and all that stuff, and it just brings me back to like when I first started it, and a few years back, like podcasting in closets. If we lived in a condo at the time, and I would like tell my wife to go like across the condo, turn the TV up as loud as you could, and just like I'll lock myself in the back office and do it by myself, huddled in a corner, or a car. I would be using Apple headphones. I had a camera mic that I would use from time to time, and putting it together with my cousin, which was really cool because he was, cause I said that backwards. My cousin is Dan, who was on a lot of the episodes back in the early days. Hasn't really been a part of it recently, but putting it together with him, coming up with all these ideas for the shows, and just chatting with him, who was my closest, Jurassic Park fan that I ever knew, all my life. So that was a really cool part of it. And obviously getting to know so many people, you, everybody else that's ever come on the podcast, seeing this community kind of grow has been really, really awesome.
Yeah, that's actually funny because like my next one is pretty much that. I was going to toot our own horn with this next pick, but you already did it, so.
I
should have compared notes, Brad.
Whatever.
We pulled a Jay and Ted's Jurassic Adventure here. We didn't compare notes before we started this.
Never do. I never do. It's all on a whim. Like whatever happens, happens.
It's chaos, man.
But I felt like kind of corny putting it on my list, but I'm like, that's one of. I mean, I know it's recent and all that, but I don't think recent should be, checked off the list because it's, too soon, but
Yeah.
I felt like it was necessary to put on there.
No, it really is, because like mine was, basically like the Jurassic Park community, like you said with your cousin. Like my brother was really the only other person grown up with, and now that like understands the Jurassic Park references. When I say something, he gets it, and like we have a 9-year age difference, so he's 9 years younger than me, but he gets the jokes and he says the jokes, and like he's always like coming up and like clever girl, he'll like screw around me and stuff like that, and so but he's that person. But before 2 years ago, when I started to like when I think I stumbled across this podcast on YouTube or something like that, or whenever I can't remember where it was, but I found it, and then I downloaded the Stitcher app, and I started listening to it on there, and I was like, there are other people in this world that like Jurassic Park as much as I do, and this guy made a podcast about it. I was like, babe, can you believe that? Like, these people talk about Jurassic Park, and she's like, why? And I'm like, because it's an awesome movie. And I had no clue, dude. I mean, I literally had no idea that there were. I mean, I knew that there were like huge Star Wars groups of communities and people, and like Ghostbusters and stuff like that, But I didn't know that Jurassic Park was a thing, that people still even did that. Because on Instagram, when I first started, I really just did like my daily life and my drum stuff. That's what I did. And I mean, I had maybe like 50 followers, and most of them were like family members and stuff, and then I started to like search Instagram even more, and I started finding guys like Jay and Nathan Vader and guys like that who are, I'm like, these dudes are like my age and they like Jurassic Park just as much as I do. This is insane. And it's like almost like you find your place in the world, because like I've always been, I like Star Wars, and I like Ghostbusters and stuff like that, and I mean, I grew up with watching He-Man and Thundercats, but like Jurassic Park has always been my thing. And when I found a group of people who are as equally obsessed with this as I am, I was like, I found my place in this world. Let's do this. And so I redid my Instagram page as like just doing just strictly Jurassic Park stuff. And then of course I caught like the painting bug, and I started to learn how to do that. And so I've only been doing that for a couple of years now, but I've met so many people along the way, you guys with the podcast, but I mean, just hundreds of people all over the world that I never would have spoke to before if it wasn't for Jurassic Park. And I told Jay this one time, I was like, Jurassic Park is like that universal language. Like, we may be from different countries, not speak the same language, but like we all speak Jurassic Park,
Yeah. And
it's that one thing that unites us and brings us all together as a community. It's this 25-year-old movie. And I think that's what's so great about it, so.
It's such a strange thing, man. It's so weird how it brings everybody like across the world. And I've never been like a very outgoing person, and I'm not like much into talking people and to people in person and all that stuff. But when I started this podcast, I was like, let me just try something different. And I've been wanting to get back into podcasting at that point, and I finally did it. And I'm like, wow, like, it's like changed me. It's changed my outlook on the franchise and all that, and it's been really awesome. Yeah. I remember specifically like in the early days, I think it was maybe around episode 18, and this is I think 138 now.
Wow.
Which, I mean, it doesn't really sound like that many, but like when it's like it's a ton. Like, it feels like a ton. But back in 18, I think it was around that time, maybe a little before or after, but I got an email, and it was like such a nice, cute little email from this girl, Jen, and it was like, hey, I was, I just wanted to say, something, I forget what it was, but like she just wrote this like really nice email, and then like I think like maybe a week or two later, she like called in and like had this one thing, and then like became a huge part of the show. And she's on a lot of the episodes. She actually is on the most amount of episodes aside from me. So it's just funny how that worked out. Like, you didn't plan on meeting any of these people, but one little email interaction creates this whole new thing that we're like good friends now. And I've met her several, like 3 times or so now. And it's just funny how that all works out just because of a movie.
Yeah, I know. It's crazy. It really is. Especially because it's like we all really relate with each other. And, even though like you and like Jay, I've never like seen you guys in person before. But it's like we talk and we communicate pretty much probably every day on Instagram somehow, and but it's like we've been friends for 25 years, and that's that thing is like that Jurassic Park. It brings you together, man, and it doesn't matter where you are, or where you're from, or if you've never met the person before. It's like you got that mark of Jurassic Park on you, dude. You're one of us. One of us.
And me and you have never recorded before together too.
No, this is the first time in 2 years or something like that. Yeah, we've never done an episode together. This is the first.
That's the weird part about this podcast as well, is like there's so many people involved that I haven't even talked with them all. Like, what? Like, how is that possible? Like, you guys are on my podcast, but like, I haven't ever talked to you or met some of you in person, and
that's weird that we've never done an episode before. Yeah,
that doesn't sound like it though, right? Like, I hope not.
Oh no, it doesn't. Yeah, no, we're not awkward with each other. That'd be really just like pure silence.
So Ted, well, that was your number 4, right? I guess kind of.
Yeah. So that was my number 4. So we'll just go ahead and. All
right, so I guess I'll go into mine then.
Yes.
Still, I'm sticking with the. Kind of, I guess, branching off of that theme, I'm sticking with the current times. My number 4 is visiting Jurassic World, the exhibition. And I had the chance to do that 3 separate times, which is awesome.
Nice.
And, yeah, I mean, this new stuff, it's impactful, too. It's not just, new and all that. And the old stuff, obviously, is super impactful. But this new stuff is great, too. And seeing Jurassic World, the exhibition, was, like, such an amazing experience, just the awe and the wonder of like walking through that exhibit and going to the museum with, at first I went with some friends, my wife, my sister, and we were just like all in awe of how, crazy it was and how big and massive these creatures was. I remember like filming the whole thing. The second time we did a podcast meetup, and I met up with, I think my cousin was there, Jay was there, Aaron was there, Jen, Josh, Travis was there. We only got to see Travis at the very end, but it was great to see him. And I think there was actually a few more people that messaged us and said they weren't like with our group, but they were there and stuff. So I missed like a few people. But we spent like hours in that thing, and it's only meant to be like a short, maybe 30-minute thing. But we spent like 2 hours in this exhibition just walking.
Get your money's worth of that.
Staring, redoing scenes over and over again, like because they had to like reset the T-Rex and the Indominus and all that, and like it was ridiculous just how long we spent in there. And that was just a blast, just meeting all those people. For like actually, I had already met Jen and Josh at that point. I met them down in Disney, so another experience that is really cool. But then the third visit, Jen, Josh, Jay were there again, but we actually there was like another meetup out there for like an official meetup. We got to watch Jurassic Park. I remember watching it with them specifically, those 3. So that was really cool because I never saw it. Oh no, I went and saw it in 3D with my cousin again.
Yeah,
I may have seen it with him. I don't remember like the first time I saw the movie, unfortunately. So it's not often that you get to see like that movie. With a bunch of people that appreciate it as much as you do.
Yeah.
I also got to meet like a lot of the Outpost guys, Ryan, Jack, Chris, Aziz. Yaroslav was there, gave some awesome artwork out. So there were so many others there. And one of the funny things about that night was after the fact, once the whole thing's over, Jay lives in the same state as I do. So he is very far away, like in New Jersey. New Jersey's tiny, but like it's like probably like 2 hours from me or something like that.
Wow.
So I'm like, let me ease it for Jay so he can like doesn't have to wait on like several trains and do all this stuff to get to his house, because he would have had to take like a bunch of trains. It would have taken him like 4 hours or something like that. So I'm like, hey dude, I'll take you. I sort of had to go out of the way, but it was no big deal because I'm familiar with like this one train station, and I'll take you out there. I'll drive you there. So I'm like, all right, come with me. We walk out to the car. I parked in a parking garage down the road a little ways. So get in the car, go to the ticket thing and put my ticket in. It spits it out. I'm like, why? So I put it in again, spits it out. Do it like a few more times. And I'm like, I don't know what to do. We're stuck in this parking garage, and Jay's there with me, and I'm like, oh geez, like this is bad. Like I told him to come with me, and I was like going to make it easier for him. And now we're stuck in this garage. And so like I'm sitting there calling. I had no idea who to call. And I'm like, I don't know what to do. So I called a number. There was like a billboard for like apartments across the street. So I call that number. I'm like, hey, do you guys have like a way to get me out of this garage? And they're like, I guess so. We'll come outside. So I never saw them. Like 10 minutes go by. I'm like walking up and down the street. They call my cell phone back. They must have went back inside and they're like, we were walking. We didn't see you. Where are you? I'm like, I'll go back out there or whatever. And I didn't see them. It was like back and forth for like 3 or 4 times with this person walking inside, outside. And we're like in there for like 20, 30 minutes and I didn't know what to do. And I'm like, Jay, I'm sorry. Like, I don't know what's going on. I can't get out of this garage. We might be stuck here. I don't know what to do. So if it turns out that there was an exit on the second floor of this parking garage for some odd reason. Yeah. And I was trying to go out the one on the first floor. Apparently the first floor one was locked. The second floor one was open. Why is there one on the second floor? That's never a thing. So it was just this chaotic end to the night, and Jay was there the whole time. It was hilarious and so strange, and it was a good time. But so that Jurassic World, the exhibition, is my number 4.
That's nice. Yeah, I wish I could have made it to that. I remember when you guys were going, but I'm all the way down in Atlanta, so
yeah, that's I'm
far away. So sad.
Yeah. So where are we? We're number 3.
All right, so let's see. I'm crossing them off my list so I stay organized. Let's see, where am I at? Okay, so perfect segue. Seeing Jurassic Park for the first time, right? Yeah. I never got to see the movie when it first came out in '93. My parents were like, that's too scary. You can't go see it. And of course that made me want to go see it. And I think I was 8 maybe at the time, 7 or 8. Mm-hmm. But I remember the first time I ever saw it was at a friend's house, and they were like the kind of people that like we had growing up. We had like the crappiest TV you could possibly imagine. Like it had the little knobs on it, and it was just like antenna ears and everything. And it was like the speakers and the TV. That's all we had. But this kid, his parents had like the big TV, like the surround sound and everything like that. And I remember watching it at his house, and for the first time, and just being blown away because they had the surround sound going. And of course, when Jurassic Park first kicks off and it's like that intro when it's showing all the credits and stuff like that, and like that boom, like that thing. Like, yeah, I remember that just like shook my soul inside. And I was like, this is the most amazing thing. And the breakout T-Rex is going on, and it's just like, I remember just being blown away by that, and that's just a memory. Like I'll always remember like that, just the sounds of Jurassic Park, on those big speakers, and just being a little kid and just like, oh my gosh, this is the greatest thing ever, and I never got to see when it came out in 3D. I never made it to the theater for that, and I'm bummed out. I've never been able to watch Jurassic Park on the big screen, so I'm hoping that one day, like maybe a theater nearby, like randomly plays it sometime, or they're going to do something. I'd really love to see it with the live symphony, playing it live, because I know the Fox Theater I think did that a while ago, but I don't think tickets are usually really expensive to go see that, but maybe one day.
Yeah, you're kind of lucky there because, like I said, I don't remember my first viewing of the movie, and it's always so anticlimactic. I've had a bunch of people ask me recently, like, so do you remember like the first time you saw the movie? And they expect me to have like this grand answer as to like how it impacted me and how, all that stuff, and unfortunately, I just don't have that, and it sucks, to not have that first memory of seeing it. And I know I saw it like in 1993 because I was a huge fan at that point, had all the toys and all that stuff. But yeah, I just don't remember that moment. I have this vague idea, but like I don't actually know for sure. But having that must be great.
Yeah, and which is weird because like I remember like when I was 2 or 3 or something like that, like my parents went and took me to see Platoon. Mm-hmm. Remember that Vietnam movie Platoon with Charlie Sheen? Like, they took me to go see that. That's a really violent war movie.
Yeah.
And you won't take me to go see Jurassic Park, but you take me to go see Platoon? Terrible. It's poor parenting.
Yeah, my parents took me one time to see True Lies. And, I mean, like, it's not the worst movie in the world to go to, I guess, as a kid. But, like, there's plenty of cursing, and there's, like, a whole striptease scene.
Oh, yeah.
So, like, it was, like, and they were, like, covering my eyes and stuff as a kid. But, yeah, I remember that movie, but I don't remember Jurassic Park. I remember, and I don't remember The Lost World either. Like,
oh, really?
I don't.
See, I remember seeing The Lost World. My dad took me to see that because it was playing at the Dollar Theater right near our house, and he's like, let's go watch The Lost World. It's at the Dollar Theater. My parents were frugal people, so they were like, let's wait till it goes to the Dollar Theater. And I don't even know if those even exist anymore or not, but you could go and see a movie for $1, you know, and popcorn was $1 and drinks were $1. It was great. But we went to go see The Lost World in the theater, man, and that's another great memory. That's not on my list, but I mean, I remember going to see that with my dad and just loving. He's like, dude, let's go to Walmart and see if they got some Lost World stuff. And so he went and he got me the Raptor and the green Pachycephalosaurus. He got me Eddie Carr, Nick Van Owen, and Ian Malcolm. And I was like, dude, this is the best day ever.
Oh, man,
so, yeah, it was a great memory, but it's not on my list. I don't know why. That was my honorable mention.
There you go.
We'll call it that. Sorry, Dad. Honorable mention, in case you're listening. If you're not, but
you don't have any marquee cinemas or anything in down near you, do you?
What is that?
It's just another movie chain. I don't know how far it extends or where it goes. I'm not sure, but we have one out here, sort of near me. It's like 20 minutes away, but I drive there anyway, even though there's a theater 2 minutes from my house.
Yeah.
And sometimes they do this thing called like flashback cinema. I think it's called flashback cinema or something. And they play like retro movies all the time, like every month. And Jurassic Park was there, and I went there one day, just like in the past 2 years or so. I went there by myself, and I'm like, I was gonna go see it by myself, and I did, and it was great to kind of see who was in the theater and like what type of demographic. There was a lot of parents taking their kids, and maybe that was the first time they had seen the movie or at least seen it in theaters. It was really cool to at least get that experience. But I remember
there's probably stuff like that, I'm right in between. I'm actually closer to Athens, Georgia, and Athens, Georgia is right near where the University of Georgia is. Mm-hmm. And so, like, when I say I'm from Atlanta, like, nobody knows that I'm from Barrow County in Georgia. That's just some bumpkin, hillbilly place in the middle of Georgia, you know. So I say I'm from Atlanta, they're like, oh, okay, cool, I know that. I don't live anywhere. I'm an hour from Atlanta, but I'm 30 minutes from Athens. So Athens is more like college town, hipster kind of place, so they probably have theaters like that there, I'm sure. I just don't go down there. I mean, I crowds, kids, and loud noises. I can't do it.
That's kind of the worst.
But no, I'm sure they probably have something like that. I know there's like a drive-in theater closer to Atlanta where you can go and watch movies at the drive-in, and then I think there's one like down the road from us in Buford, and I believe that you can actually get like drinks there, like beer and wine and stuff like that there, and you can get like food, like cheeseburgers and stuff, like while you're sitting in the theater. And they bring you your food, and you can have like meals or whatever. Which
sounds a little nicer than the one we have. I have to drive like an hour and a half, and we do it all the time in the summer. We drive out there, and you have to go get your own food. But they have this nice stand in there for food, and I would say, though, I would wonder if Jurassic Park would be okay for that or not. A lot of the movie is pretty bright, but some of the moments that you really want to stay tuned for, like the breakout and all that, it's super dark. So I don't know if that would like translate well in a drive-in, because those darker scenes are hard to see. I guess unless the projector is really good, I don't really know. But I know the one that I go to, I saw recently, like I saw I saw War for the Planet of the Apes, and those are both have like darker scenes, which was like sometimes very hard to see. But
I don't know. I mean, I would sit there, I would munch on a cheeseburger and watch Jurassic Park.
Well, yeah, for sure.
Totally
I mean, like, no doubt, go. But
mainly because I've seen it before. But like when you go to that place and you're going to actually watch a movie you've never seen before, and some dude is sitting next to you just crunching away on whatever it is that he's eating. It's pretty obnoxious. So.
You can sit in your own car. You got your own space. You're good. Like
yeah. Slopping on a cheeseburger. God.
And that was your number 3, right?
Yeah.
I always lose track of these. So I'm on my number 3.
Okay. I've got 2 left, right? So
yeah. So
we can math. We're good.
My number 3. This is one of those things that I don't remember too many details about, but I have enough details. One of them in my hand actually at the moment. I remember back. There's no reason for me to look for a date. Back in whatever date.
90 something.
Yeah, exactly. I created a fan club for Jurassic Park with my cousin. So it's like,
all right.
It's funny because like, you know, it's kind of enlightening where you're like, wait a second, I've been doing this my entire life. Like,
yeah.
This is like not something that's like, you know, I just picked up recently because like I want to hop on the bandwagon or something like that. No, it's like I've literally been doing this my whole life. And, you know, we didn't have podcasts back in 19 whatever, but we had fun like homemade fan clubs. And I feel like a lot of kids probably did stuff like this, like whether it was like, you know, you had a tree house and you made your own like club or something like that. We made a Jurassic Park fan club, and it was like I actually printed out on paper and stuck it to magnets. So I have these like business card size magnets, and I actually have one here still, and it says the Jurassic Park Club, and it says manager Brad Jost. And this is not even mine. This one I made for my cousin because it says for Casey, which is I know I said his name is Dan before, but it's a nickname and I've always called him Casey. Okay. So it says for Casey, and it has my home phone number on here. Like,
it's just so he knows who's in charge of this
That's club. Exactly it. I wrote that in my notes. Is like I was always trying to be the boss, and I was the older cousin. So I maybe 5 years or something like that. So I was always in charge of all the toys, and, you know, divvying them out because we always had to trade who got what. And, you know, I was always the boss, so I had to be the manager, right? Like that, there was no other way around it. But it's just so funny because I made a few of these things. I remember, I think I made one for my other cousin who just so happened to, he lived in like Virginia at the time, and he just came up, I think, one year, and I made one for him. And I probably made one for my sister and probably a few other people at the time. But like, it's just funny. Like, I wanted to create like a community of like fans back.
It was destined, man.
In that time. It's so weird, so weird. But it's just this. Like, I don't have like I said, a ton of memories with this thing, but I wanted to rank it higher because it means a lot to me. Because I still have this magnet here, and it may be like, you know, old and the magnet doesn't work anymore, and it's very wrinkly and the paper doesn't look so great, but it has a lot of meaning to me, and it's just been with me. This thing is old now, you know. It's gonna stick around with all these toys that I have and everything else. It's all a part of it, you know. And the cool thing is I wrote the on the top, and then the second line, Jurassic Park Club, and I actually used like a Jurassic Park-ish font, like back in whenever. I probably used like, what do you call those? I don't even know what you call them anymore. Like a word processor, I think is what we had. We didn't have a computer. We had a word processor that literally all it was for was typing and then printing, I guess. So I did that, and it just means a lot after all these years. It's so weird, but I love it.
Yeah, well, in keeping with your theme, I'll go on to my next one, with not having technology and growing up in the 90s. And this is one that I talked about this on a episode with Jay one time, but I'll talk about it again because to me it's just funny, and it's like it just shows like the ingenuity of kids in the 90s, or late 90s, maybe mid to late 90s. It was probably before The Lost World came out, so it was probably like 95, 96, I think. I can't remember when, but they were. I got I think I got Jurassic Park on VHS, and back in the 90s, of course, you know, we didn't have little tiny computers in the palm of our hands that have Netflix on it, and we didn't have YouTube or iPads or anything fun for really long road trips. And so we would go to visit family in New York. And so that's like a 12, maybe 15-hour drive up to Messina, New York, which is like upstate New York. And so that drive is like brutal on a little kid in the 90s. And so what I would do is I took a tape recorder, put Jurassic Park in the VHS player, played it on the TV, and then I pressed record on the tape recorder, and I recorded the audio of Jurassic Park onto this tape cassette thing. And so what I would do is I would listen to Jurassic Park on the way up to New York to go visit family. I mean, a few times probably. Like I'd listen to it, and then you rewind it, and you know, and listen to it again. And I did the same thing with The Lost World after it came out. And I think today that's why I'm able to quote the movie. And I have it like ingrained into my brain, like every single line. And it, like my wife, she cannot watch Jurassic Park with me because she gets so frustrated because I'll sit there and just quote the movie. And like I won't even be in the room. I'll be in the kitchen doing something, and I'm like quoting line for line. She's like, "Oh my God, you got to stop! You got to stop!" Just you know. And so yeah, it stresses her out when she can't watch it with me. But yeah, man, we'd sit there with little headphones in, little like Walkman headphones, you know, and a little tape recorder, and I'd sit there and listen to Jurassic Park all the way to New York, man. And it's like probably a really poor audio quality, but I mean, I loved that. I mean, that was my thing, and I think I probably did it with a few other movies too, but Jurassic Park was the one that I had the most. Wrote on the cassette tape, you know, Jurassic Park, and I always kept that with me just in case. Just listen to it randomly in the car. So
yeah, man. I mean, we weren't audio snobs or anything like that back in those days. It was just like that was perfect. Like whatever you had was perfect, and that man, I love that story. That is so great. I wish I had thought of that. That would have been really cool. Yeah. Like that's definitely a way to pass the time.
Yeah, I mean, I'd have to sit there with it, you know, and of course you did have background noise because you know my mom would be in the kitchen doing something, or my dad come in like yelling or whatever, and so like you probably have that in the background too while the movie is still playing. It's all distorted and everything, but yeah, it was we had to be clever back then, man, because we didn't have all the fancy stuff that kids have today. Makes me sound really old when I say that. These kids,
it's like it's a whole different world, man. It's so crazy, like.
But
the fact that we're all still here is amazing. Like, you know, how far we've come with all this fandom and what we're doing now. Like, we're just, we're recording on computers and putting it out to the world, to the entire world. And then, you know, at one point you were just sitting there in a car, like listening to the full movie. Like, that's so cool. Yeah.
I mean, that's 90s right there in a nutshell.
Yeah.
I think I take a lot of technology for granted, you know, but like even stuff with, like nowadays, like if I go on eBay and I need to find something to add to the collection or whatever, I can click on it, buy it, boom, it's here in like 3 or 4 days.
Yeah.
You know, and back in the, you know, back in the 90s, I mean, it was like, and even Jay and I talked about this, like I didn't even know some of this stuff even existed because there was no internet database showing every single thing from each line, you know, like the Series 2 stuff, had no idea that existed. You know, I mean, I had no idea. All I knew was Grant, and then the things that were on the back of the package. That was it. And that T-Rex, that's not the one that we got. The maquette stand-in on the back of the box that they used. I always thought that was real, and never could find it. You know, and so all those years, and then finally, like on the internet, and realized that you know that never existed. They did the old bait and switch. So
yeah, I mean, we just got whatever was at the store. Like that's really like whatever was there, and you know, aside from maybe looking at like a Macy's catalog or something like that, you know, like picking out your full like I want this. Oh yeah, like that's all we had.
You get those little Kenner catalogs that would come with like car, like your bigger boxed set, like your vehicle or whatever. Those catalogs were just awesome because they had like all the Kenner stuff, the Batman animated series. Like the Aliens, Predators, had the Jurassic Park. I think it was Series 2 by then. And then what else did they have? Like I think RoboCop and Terminator. Can't remember what else Kenner put out, but like the Batman Returns stuff. You know, I remember flipping through those catalogs and just like want it, you know. And but I think by like '94 and 94 is when I caught Power Ranger fever, and so that's why I think I didn't know that the Series 2 stuff even existed, because you couldn't find it for the most part in my area, and then Power Rangers were everywhere, and of course I was like on the Power Ranger bandwagon, and that became my new obsession, and I remember having a ton of that stuff too, but yeah, it was crazy to think that just some of the stuff that I had no clue even existed until, the internet. What would we do without it?
Not podcasts, that's for sure.
I know. We'd be talking on our rotary phones together.
Well, going into my number 2 is still in that same vein. Now, this is one of my highlights of playing with toys. Like, we've all done this, right? Like, we've all played with toys, and we've all like created these scenarios, and wherever you played. Like, we did a lot of playing in my basement. My cousin would come over, we'd play down there, and we'd set up all kinds of stuff. I like used my sister's giant like Barbie dream home or whatever it was. It was like 2 or 3 stories, like so we would use whatever. But I remember it probably happened maybe more than once. I'm not really sure, but specifically, I remember one time we took my toys out in the backyard, and at the time, my backyard had no grass in this one area, and it was like mostly dirt, but there was like a few stragglers of grass, I guess you could say. But we went out there, dug some tracks, into the dirt and through the grass and whatnot, and I created like a path, a tour path and all that, different paddocks where they were all spread out in different areas. It was maybe like a 20 by 20 space that we used in my backyard. And this path would like go over mounds and around all these curves, and I would just make this awesome thing. And I had no visitor center. I didn't have any of that cool stuff, or whatever it was, the compound or whatever. So I used, what do you call it? Masters of the Universe, the Castle Grayskull.
Yes, Castle Grayskull.
Yeah, and I mean, that's not the visitor center by any means, but it's the best I had. It was the best thing I could use at the moment. There's this, I brought it here. I have pictures here. Not that this helps for podcasts, but it maybe helps me relay some stuff. But I'll try to actually like take some shots of these and put them online. So yeah, Castle Grayskull, there's like, there's this giant mound of dirt, actually, because I guess I dug a hole. What I did was I dug a hole and I put this, giant Tupperware kind of plastic box. It had like this interlocking top that, kind of like if you put your hands together and like lock your fingers, kind of like that. Yeah. Like, so it was like a fully connected doorway on top, and it would go like open straight up. So I remember I used that. I actually dug a hole, put that in the ground, and that was my raptor pen. I threw dirt in there. I threw grass in there, and I threw all my raptor toys in there. What else do I have here? Yeah, so they got this giant mound, which is like, shaped like more so like the Innovation Center from Jurassic World, which is funny. Yeah. But so I had that, and there was like a tunnel I can see in there. I had this like, I don't even know what this thing is, but it's like a big air conditioning unit thing that you might see like on top of like a house, but it's just like in my backyard. Like, and I moved it over to this spot, and I put like, it was like a building, and man, it's just like, it's so awesome. I actually have a bunch of pictures, and like I see here the spot where I put the Red Rex, and it's so funny because I have this Red Rex sitting right next to me as I record this and talk about it, and I have a picture here from, I don't know what. Let me actually see if it has it. Sometimes they have it on the back.
Does yours still make the sound?
Dude, I couldn't have even told you that's what it sounded like. No, it doesn't.
Let's get the.
I do have that.
Yeah, the stomp. Yeah.
Mine sounds a little different, but
that's so weird.
That's such a crazy noise. Like the noises these things made. That electronic raptor that you mentioned before. I believe that one sounds like one of those Halloween mats.
Oh yeah, it sounds like a banshee. It just like I don't think any of them work, but yeah, they're all just awful sounding.
But
I have something like I have the Gallimimus. The Gallimimus just sounds just terrible. I don't even know what they were like. What that sound is? It's just like a note from a keyboard or something like that. Yes, they all sound the same, pretty much, different pitches.
I think my Bull T-Rex works, and none of my old stuff works. Like none of them work. I don't know. I might have to. I guess I could try to change batteries or something. I don't really care that much to do it, but yeah. But yeah,
sorry, I got you off track.
No, I don't know even what happened. I'm just rambling about this stupid thing I had in my backyard, but like it's one of those awesome memories for me. Is like playing in my backyard with my cousins again, and just bringing like I see here, which what did I have out there? I had the bike with the sidecar. I had the tracker. What is that thing? Is that like a Batmobile? It might be a Batmobile. Awesome. And then the Geo Cruiser from Captain Planet.
Oh, yeah.
And I think I have the wingsuit out there on top of that mound. So, yeah, I got all this stuff outside, and I just, like, it's just one of those things that I wish I could just do right now. Like, go out and just make, like, a track. And one day I'll probably get to do that, hopefully, with my kid, you know? Like, and whatever toys he has. Or we could take these ones out there. I don't care. Like, but just, like, that memory is so great. And one of the things specifically is I remember I had my Roland Tembo out there. He was, you know, my favorite toy, I guess, toy character at that moment. You know, he was just the coolest looking figure that there was, probably for Jurassic, and I lost him in the dirt somewhere.
Oh, no.
And that it just disappeared out there. He's probably still in that backyard somewhere. Like, just I have the pictures. I should have just went back there and just dug.
Yeah,
like I should have just done it. But I've since bought a new one, but it doesn't have those same memories. But I lost that one. I don't have a lot of my figures that I've come to realize. I'm like, once I see these pictures, like you said, like go to JP Toys or whatever, and you see all this stuff, you're like, oh my God, I had that. I remember I had this, I had that, or whatever, and I don't anymore. And there's no explanation for that aside from they probably just got lost out in the dirt or something like that. Yeah. But I just thought it was a really cool memory for me, and just playing back there, it was better than a basement. It was the real Jurassic World, or Jurassic Park. And that spot where I had the T-Rexes, like the T-Rex paddock, it was the only spot with somewhat like grass. And it was like, that was like the trees, you know, for them to hide in. And the cars would go through. T-Rex would just come out of nowhere and smash the cars off the track. And just to think how dirty all these toys got, like, out in the dirt.
We put them through a lot, you know.
Yeah,
and
man.
But like, and that's like a testament though to like how a lot of them, you know, a lot of the secondhand stuff that we get, you know, now it's still there. I mean, it still holds up to this day. You know, I mean, it may be missing arms or whatever, or you know, the electronics may not work, but you know, for being 25 years old, you know, it's impressive how these were made. So
it's a good question.
It really
missing arms.
If you need a pair of missing arms, contact Ed Brothers on Instagram.
I can't. No, I'm trying to look at the picture, man.
Has it got the arms?
I think it does.
Oh,
man. Maybe they were out in the backyard.
They probably are.
Maybe I played too hard back there. I don't know.
Yeah.
But that was my number 2. So
awesome.
I like that one a lot.
So this is my number 1, my last one.
The last one, yeah.
All right, cool. So my last one is funny because like it's funny. My last one is the same one as yours.
Sorry.
It's playing Lost World in the backyard with my brothers.
Yes.
And just like you did, like we had our spot that and I wish I had pictures of it, man. It was cool. It was like, you know, it wasn't super huge, but it was this little garden area that we let all these little saplings, these little trees, we let them grow up, little pin oak trees and stuff. I don't know if you have those up there, but down here they grow like crazy. But they're perfect trees for kinder guys. And so we had one big tree. It was like maybe like the size of an arm, you know, just like a adult arm, and that was our high hide, where we would put our like makeshift high hide. That was, we never actually had the real high hide, but we made our own. And I mean, we did the whole place up. We had this big rock cliff where the van or the RV would go, and that's where we would do the the T-Rex attack scene. In fact, of course, back then we didn't have the mobile command center, so that's the thing is like with Jurassic Park, it's like the command center and the mobile command center. It's like you don't really need those to play Jurassic Park because you had your imagination and you would just find random vehicles that you had, and those were going to be your vehicles. I remember we had two these like cheesy like black minivans, and we spray painted them like olive green, and those were our trailers, and we would throw them off the cliff. And I remember the Eddie car that I got, my dog ate him and like chewed him up and like destroyed him, split him in half, and everything like that. And instead of throwing it away, we got red nail polish from my mom, and we painted red nail polish all over the bite wounds, and it was like Dino Damage Eddie Carr. And we played like that. Like that's what he was. He was just constantly bloody. Yeah. And but I remember like we'd go out and play Jurassic Park, and it's one of those memories where like you almost like I'm trying to think if I can even describe it, but like springtime here in Georgia has like a certain smell. It's like humidity and like the rain and like the flowers are blooming and everything just smells right, and that smell reminds me of when we would play Jurassic Park outside. And like a rainstorm was coming or whatever, and you get like that smell of the rainstorm, and it's like all these like nostalgic memories when I'm outside in the springtime here in Georgia. It's like, oh my gosh, this just reminds me of being a kid, being outside with all of our random things, not even having full on like official Jurassic Park dinosaurs. Most of the dinosaurs that we had were, just generic dinosaurs. We used because I had Dino Riders left over from when I was younger. We used Land Before Time dinosaurs that we had from like Pizza Hut, the little Pizza Hut puppets. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, and, I got two of them right here. Those. Yeah, the what's it, sharp tooth or whatever. I don't know, the T-Rex. Yeah, I have two T-Rex. Yeah, we used that T-Rex as the Thrasher T-Rex, and we used I had the puppet, the big rubber green T-Rex Lost World puppet, because we found that at a thrift store, and that was the bull T-Rex, and that was our main T-Rex that we had. I never had the red Rex or anything else until we finally found the bull T-Rex at the thrift store one time for like $5 or whatever. And but before that, we was just playing with generic dinosaurs outside. It didn't matter if they had the mark of Jurassic Park on it, but it was just those memories of just being able to do that and being a kid. And now as an adult and having being a dad and having a daughter, it's like my kid, and her name is Lex, which is funny because I'm a huge Jurassic Park nerd, and my daughter's name is Lex, and she's blonde, and so she loves Jurassic Park, and she'll come down here, and I usually have doubles of most of my things, but not because I am a hoarder, but I also have doubles because she likes to play with stuff too. So I give her like the more beaten up ones and everything, and so she likes to take those outside, and she goes and has her little area. I have a ton of like old fencing, compound fencing, and she takes the fencing out there and she sets it up, puts the dinosaurs in the fence, and of course she's not as like super violent as I was when I was a kid, so she doesn't like eat people. She like takes care of the dinosaurs and does like veterinarian stuff or whatever. And so, but it's awesome to see like that come full circle where it's, now I'm an adult and I can see my kid do that, and she's fortunate enough that I have all of this stuff that is like at her, disposal. She can just get whatever she wants off the shelf, and back then I had to like make my stuff and like pretend this was actually a really cool T-Rex when it was just a Pizza Hut hand puppet, but
you don't care as a kid though,
yeah, you really don't, But no, it's just cool to be able to see that, to see her really enjoy Jurassic Park, and she likes watching Jurassic World. She really likes Claire, that character, and so I think she's excited for the new Jurassic Park movie coming out, or Jurassic World movie. Sorry, Fallen Kingdom. And so yeah, she loves the Lego game. Watching her, we sat there forever and played that Jurassic World Lego game like for a week straight, and we unlocked all the characters and everything, and it was fun because it's like, that's a trip down memory lane for me, is when you play the Jurassic Park version of the Jurassic World Lego game and you're just like running through the park doing scenes from the movie with little Lego dudes. Yeah, that was so much fun, man. And then the Lost World one, and even Jurassic Park 3, I mean, it was like those movies, that was just awesome. I loved that. I mean, it was a great little game. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I haven't gotten through it all yet. I got it late in the game, so it was like years after Jurassic World came. Actually, what was it like? I got it like last year, I think. So I haven't still played through it all. I'm stuck playing Zelda. I can't get off it. I'm just like keep playing it like. So yeah, but man, I agree, man. That's gonna be the fun part, is like transitioning some of these toys, or all of them, whatever, to him, just like my kid, and just letting him play with them. And I've always questioned that, like, what do I let him play with, and will he ever see this room that I have down here in the basement? Like,
he will, trust me. How old is he right now?
7 months. He's gonna be 7 months.
He's only 7. Oh, you got plenty of time. Wait till they're 5, dude. They're a nightmare when they're 5.
Yeah. Oh, great. Okay.
They can reach things and form opinions. They can get to your stuff. Trust me.
Yeah. Well, I've been pawning collections here and there on the internet. I've been getting. I'll look for the bulk collection that has like, maybe like a cool Jurassic Park or Jurassic World item. And then it also comes with a bunch of random dinosaurs. So I've been getting them all. So I throw the random ones into a bin, and maybe he can play with those first until he gets to like 5 or whatever, like you said. But I know I've had a few kids over my house recently. Like my friends all, are having kids and stuff. So they'll bring their kids over. At one point I had my Bull T-Rex upstairs. I had an Indominus that I got from one of those online sales. And one of the kids that was over was just throwing them both against the walls, like all over the place, like against our fireplace. And like, and I wasn't home, but my wife was telling me this after the fact. They're like, yeah, he was throwing it all over. I'm like, oh, my poor Bull T-Rex. Be nice. Be gentle with it. But yeah, it's going to happen. It's going to happen. He's going to play with all this stuff. And if he breaks it, he breaks it. That's just a new story, If we have to call somebody for some new arms, so be it.
I know a guy who makes replacement arms. His name's Ted Brothers on Instagram.
Yeah, but that's the beauty of all this, man. Like
product placement.
Yeah, dude, you're selling it. You got to sell it,
Hustling those arms, man. Somebody called me a small arms dealer. I think it was Tony the Dino Geek called me the small arms dealer.
That's amazing.
Like, I am. You're right so to Rex arms.
Oh wow, that is perfect.
Yeah,
but dude, like these memories are all we have. Like, what are we gonna do? We gotta transition to new memories and pass them on and create all these new memories. It's gonna be fun, and I can't wait to do that. But
that's why I'm excited, even for the new Fallen Kingdom merch to hit the shelves. I'm really excited about the pops. I don't collect pop vinyls, but I will get those because I am a Jurassic Park hoarder and I have to have all those. But I'm really excited for the Fallen Kingdom stuff, just because it's like that thrill of being able to like go to the store, bring my kid with me, let's go get some dinosaurs, and it's like making those new memories for her. So, she's always got those. And even if, one day she's like, I've outgrown dinosaurs and I'm not interested in them, that's whatever. But, these memories, at least, we can make together and we can have that, and so
yeah,
I think that'll be good.
Well, yeah, I'm excited too, because he's only 7 months, but we'll probably end up getting some of the younger kitty stuff, and I can't wait to do that because I just bypassed all that, last time around or any of the times. I mean, we didn't really have the kitty stuff when we were kids, right? It was just come out until, normal stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, that was the Play School. That came out later on, I think.
Yeah.
And maybe like after Jurassic Park 3 or around maybe Jurassic Park 3. I can't remember. But they had like the Play School stuff, and then they did it for for Jurassic World.
Yeah, exactly. I didn't get any of that stuff. I think I picked up one on clearance recently. So it's like on a shelf waiting like for when he's ready to use it. But like I'm excited for the new stuff too. Like what kind of new stuff they'll come out with, and the Duplo I think is what the bigger Lego blocks or something, right?
Yep.
We've seen one of those already, and I'm gonna get that for sure. Like it just seems perfect. And man, I'm so excited to see what else comes out. Toy Fair probably this weekend. It already happened by the time this is coming out. So
yeah,
I don't know how far it goes. Maybe it goes into the release of this. I'm not sure, but I'm excited to see what's out there.
Saturday or Sunday morning is going to be a very busy day on Instagram. I can feel that.
Yeah, I agree.
Your entire news feed is just going to be pictures of the Jurassic World stuff, which I'm excited for, man. I can't wait to see it.
Yeah, it's gonna be.
I'm really excited about being able to get a Carnotaur, because I don't have one, and I can't afford that Kenner Demon Carnotaurus.
No,
it's just too expensive. So I'm gonna get me a Fallen Kingdom one.
That works just as well.
Yeah.
Oh man, so we're on number one. My number one then, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Let's see. All right, so my number one, which I've told 1,000 times probably here, is seeing. So I feel weird saying this, but seeing Jurassic World around my wedding, and it's not like a Jurassic Park memory, but it's Jurassic World. It's just as fun, and the fact that it came out literally the same like week as I got married back in 2015. So that was awesome for me. Like that was just so cool. We did not a destination really, but it was in a different state than we live. So we got married in Pennsylvania, just outside of Scranton.
Where The Office is.
Exactly, yeah. We love The Office. So, I mean,
God,
that really didn't play into it, but we just love The Office so much.
We could do an entire podcast of just The Office, Brad, and we could talk for hours on that show. I'm not even joking. I watch that show every day.
No joke, dude. Yeah, that's
not even joking.
When we had our kid, we watched it 3 times in a row, all the way through. Like, it was ridiculous. So we were staying home a lot with him and stuff, so we could. But I'm obsessed. So I guess it kind of works that we got married outside of Scranton. So so we were up there. We went up like on a Tuesday and got married on a Saturday. So we went up on a Tuesday. It's at this farm. It was like we got married like on a mountain top. We were like on this like or a hilltop, I guess, but like. It was like amazing, awesome views, and then there was like a barn afterwards where the reception and all that stuff was. So we got up there early to like help prepare and set up and all this stuff because it was more like do it yourself. So Tuesday, Wednesday, and then Thursday comes around, and we're still up there by ourselves. But at that point, like I'm like, look, you guys got to come up early. So my cousin, my sister. My cousin's girlfriend came up, and obviously my wife was there. So we all went out to the movies that Thursday night. So they came up early, got a little bit extra time up there with us, and we went out to some random theater in Dixon City, I think, in Pennsylvania, and just like picked the theater and just went and saw Jurassic World. It was like a 7 p.m. showing on a Thursday, something like that. So it was awesome. Like we all wore. The three of me, my sister, and my cousin, we wore Jurassic Park shirts. We took pictures like at this cottage that we were staying at. We took pictures in front of like Chris Pratt standees in the theater. He's like riding his motorcycle with the Raptors. We just had a great time doing that. I had my phone with me, so I was podcasting. Like I just used a recorder on my phone. We podcasted in the theater, like right before. There was like not many people in there, so we're like comfortable enough, like just chatting before the movie started, like giving our final predictions and expectations. We watched the movie all together. We all loved the movie. Podcasted on the way back to the farm. Once everybody kind of dispersed, I went back into the car for a few, and I podcasted even more by myself, like doing like a longer take reaction kind of thing. Let's see, the next night, Friday night, we did like, the typical rehearsal dinner kind of thing. And my mom got me like a special like Jurassic Park cake. So I had like that as a cake. I wore like dinosaur socks for the wedding. I had a T-Rex cake topper. It was an awesome weekend, all centered like around Jurassic World releasing essentially. And it was just like a special moment to tie the release of that movie and the wedding all together. It was so great.
Jurassic World came out. Oh, and I got married.
Yeah.
So
and it's just so funny because like we're like, usually you'd be like, we can wait a week to see it. No. Like we're going to see it 2 days before we get married. It's happening. So it happened, and it's an awesome memory. It's really great for me.
And you'll never forget your anniversary, so.
I know, right? So what, Jurassic World came out in June? Okay, all right, so 2 days. All right, good. I'm good.
Yeah, never forget it. My wife, we got like most of the important days in our lives fall on the 23rd. Like my birthday is August 23rd. Hers is November 23rd. Like a lot of the 23 things. And we went and got married on some random date in October. I can never remember it. And so I always, she's like, so what do we want to do for our anniversary? And I'm like, wait, when is that again? And she's like, it's like next week or whatever, you know? I'm like, I always forget. Love you, babe.
Yeah. Well,
love you, babe. In case you're listening to this, love you, babe.
We always celebrate both events. So like, every year we'll celebrate the anniversary of us seeing Jurassic World and then our actual anniversary. I think that'll work out for us, right?
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, that's my number one. That's our top 5. That was that's an hour's worth of awesome stuff. I really enjoyed all your stuff.
Trip down memory lane. Trip down memory lane.
The thing I've learned about podcasting is it's all about nostalgia. Like 100% of it, essentially, is all about nostalgia. I do another podcast, and we pick topics like to do every week, and every time I'm like, so we're gonna bring it back to the 90s or whenever back in the day. You remember this thing? And it's like always about nostalgia. So and that's obviously Jurassic Park is 100% nostalgia. Obviously, the stuff coming out now is like current, but there's always a bit of Jurassic Park involved.
Yeah, well, 25 years from now, somebody will be doing a podcast about Jurassic World.
Oh man, I pray it's not me still. Like, I don't know. Like 25 more years of this, I don't know. Is it going to be possible? I don't know.
Technology will have advanced. It'll surpass us.
We're on episode 4,000, guys. I don't know why. I'm gonna age a lot.
I hope you sound like that. You're gonna be like 80 in 25 years.
Yes.
You're like in your 30s.
Well, when you're podcasting every day, it just doubles your age like drastically. Like it's just I didn't have gray hairs before I started this, so no. Okay.
Oh man, that's good.
Man, well, thank you so much for joining me here today.
I had a blast.
Why don't you let everybody know where they can find you online?
Well, you can find me on Instagram at Ted Brothers, and you can also find me on YouTube at Ted Brothers. You can find that link in the bio on my Instagram page. And for all you Facebookers out there, I do have a Facebook page now. It is the Jurassic Park Compound, and it is basically the same thing as my Instagram page. I just post all the Instagram pictures there so people who don't have Instagram can see them. And I don't know, like my pictures and stuff. And just be a part of it. So.
Hey, you don't need any help, man. You got a huge following. Everybody loves your stuff. It
escalated
awesome.
Quickly. It really did. Now I have to actually create content. I didn't think I had to.
Where's Ted's pictures today? He hasn't posted anything. What's going on?
Like I've got to up my game every post. I got to make it better than the last one. So
it's tough, man. It's a tough game.
It is.
Well, if anybody out there actually has their own top 5 Jurassic memories, feel free to send them in. We would definitely want to hear what your memories are. So email them, JurassicParkPod@gmail.com. Hit up our website. We have a contact form on there. Fill it out. Fill out your favorite memories. Or call our voicemail line and let us know. Like, just list them out. Don't spend an hour. You can't. It'll
don't ramble like we do.
It'll cut you off in like 2 minutes. So, you gotta do it real quick. So 2 minutes. Give us your top 5, and I'll definitely play them on an upcoming episode. So man, let me see. I always 732-825-7763. I always have to remember that on the fly. So go ahead, call that number, leave a voicemail. Don't be afraid. Just do it. I don't pick up unless I'm feeling lucky. Maybe I don't even know if I can pick up. Like I think I said that on a recent mailbag. So. I don't know if it's possible, but maybe one of these days I'm going to try it. I don't know.
Oh, so it's not your personal cell phone that they're calling?
No, man.
Thousands of phone calls a day.
I don't think I could handle it. No, please. So yeah, keep calling the Google voicemail, whatever it is. So, but thank you for listening, and thanks for joining me, Ted. This has been fun.
Yes, sir. It was fun.
Take it easy, man.
All right, man. We'll see you.
Make sure to visit JurassicParkPodcast.com to find all our past episodes, brand new news articles, information on how to contact us, and much more. It's a great source for everything related to the podcast, and of course Jurassic Park and Jurassic World. Head to JurassicParkPodcast.com and help us build a great community.
Anybody hear that?
Thanks for listening to the 138th episode of the Jurassic Park Podcast. Of course, a big thanks to Ted Brothers for reminiscing with me on our favorite Jurassic memories. I think we probably could have talked for a few more hours discussing even more, but we're going to leave that all up to you. We want to hear your favorite Jurassic memories, and we're going to relay them in the next episode. Call us at 732-825-7763 to leave a voicemail. Email us at JurassicParkPod@gmail.com. Find one of our posts later this week asking for your favorite Jurassic memories, or visit us at JurassicParkPodcast.com. Hit the contact us, fill out the form, and let us know. Please don't forget to listen to our special update episode with Aaron Beyer, discussing the newly released toys and so much more from New York Toy Fair. We had a blast covering everything that was released in that first day or so tune in and share it around. If you want to interact with us, we do most of our work over on Twitter, at Jurassic Park Pod. We're also on Facebook at facebook.com/Jurassic Park Podcast, and our Instagram handle is at Jurassic Park Podcast. You can listen to us via iTunes, Google Play, Podomatic, YouTube, our website, or wherever else podcasts are found. So make sure to subscribe to automatically get new episodes every week. If you haven't already, please give us a 5-star review in iTunes or a great review wherever you listen to the podcast. It will seriously help out our rankings and make it easier for fans like you to find us. We're usually spotted commenting on the Jurassic Park subreddit as Jurassic Park Podcast. Don't forget to check out JurassicParkPodcast.com for all the links you heard here today. If you want to get a hold of us, you can email us with any news stories, MP3s, comments, or if you want to debut a segment of your own, send them to JurassicParkPod@gmail.com. Or you can submit questions directly on our website contact form. If you'd like to record something for the show, send it in to us and we'll feature it in an upcoming episode. If you don't have any way to record, you can give our voicemail line a call and leave us a message. That number is 732-825-7763. Thanks for listening and enjoy.
No, I'm simply saying that life finds a way.
5 minutes. Drop what you're doing and leave now.